what is that one flavor or, I don't know, ingredient or...
As an ingredient, various forms of coconut. So whether it's the cooking in coconut oil or the, the fried coconut that goes over or the paste, coconut paste, coconut milk. So coconut and drinking here is always seen through like a taboo lens, right? It's not as open. And I think the fact that love for homegrown to a certain extent in terms of ingredients, brands is certainly growing. There's a little bit of a struggle between where to stop your storytelling and where to let the drink speak for itself.
Hi there and welcome to the PODIcast, a video series by Southside Story, India's first South Indian music festival up here in the north. My name is Thomas Fenn. I run Mahabali, which is a Kerala cuisine restaurant. We've been doing this for about 10 years. And I will be your host as we dive into the food and happenings of my favorite region, which is the South. My guest today is Karina Aggarwal, someone I've known for a very long time, both personally and professionally, as a heavy hitter in the food business. The shortest and perhaps the most boring way to describe what Karina does would probably be to call her an alco-bev consultant. And I say short and boring because she's so much more than those two words. She is a sommelier, a very accomplished sommelier at that point. She is a juror at many international wine and beer festivals, namely the CNB. I don't know how to pronounce that. Maybe you can do this for us. With beer, she's been part of the Brussels Beer Challenge. She's also now an educator, spreading the gospel of alcohol. At the WSET, which is the Wine Spirit Education Trust.
Yeah.
You might also know her as the very popular Giggle Water on Instagram and other social media channels, where she teaches you how to make drinks. She tells you about the history of many forms of spirit in beverages, both indigenous in India and all over the world. Also reads and writes Telugu, which qualifies her for this podcast. But more importantly, over and above all of this, it is a matter of joy, wonder, and great entertainment to watch Karina blow through a crab with the grace and efficiency and speed that she does. Karina, welcome to the show. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me. It's a very long introduction.
I haven't seen, I think one of the first things that stuck over of all of this was I happened to see her, pick apart a crab, and it was magnificent. It was.
I wish I could put that on my CV, but
you should open it like no shell unturned. So let's dive right into it.
Yeah,
I'm going to open with a question that I have to ask on behalf of all my Malayali brethren.
Yeah.
Which is, how does one become a professional drinker? Tell me, because background is obviously, nobody studies to become, I mean, I'm sure you do, but in coming from where we do, that's not like a natural path, right?
So I fell into it. My background was actually journalism. I studied journalism for my postgrad. And then I started working with a sort of publishing house, and they had 3 different magazines. So they had an aerospace magazine, a photography magazine, and an alco-bev magazine. And I had to learn about all 3. But I was sent to interview winemakers, distillers, brewers, and I knew nothing about alcohol really. So I started studying it and I started researching and just, figuring out as much as I could so that I didn't sound stupid when I was interviewing them.
What part of your life, how old are you when all of this is happening?
Straight up, so 21. 21, 22.
Just legal. At least not in Delhi at least, but...
Of course. Yeah, but in Bombay, this was all in Bombay. So yeah. So that's where it sort of started. And I didn't drink at that point. Through college, I was the one making sure that all my friends got back home.
Karina's Catholic. So, makes sense on some level, I guess.
What, they're not drinking?
They're not drinking?
No, I don't think so.
Family of drinkers?
Well... Go there's Goan roots, so yes, definitely. But I think that was one of the reasons I didn't, because at home it was always, it wasn't taboo, and if I remember as whatever in college or not college, before that in school, if we had to ask my mom or dad, can I have a sip? Can I try it? They would say, yeah, okay, one sip. And I think that's the best way to get someone off alcohol, make them try it as a child because it does not taste good. And so when I moved to Bombay and I was then living in hostel, where everyone else was just excited because now they could drink and now they could try all of these things. For me, it wasn't interesting at all because, there was no, so I was the one who used to hold everyone's hair back, rub their backs and they were throwing up.
No, I would also imagine that all the access to alcohol that you have at that age is basically ladies' night at a cheap bar, which is their plow fuel nonsense.
I remember, actually the bottle fuel, which was fuel, but that was what used to do the rounds in hostel. So I didn't have any, so when my friends found out that I have a job that involves writing about alcohol, their first question was, how? Like, how did you get it? Because I didn't drink through college. And so I think that's one of the things that led me to read, research a lot about it. And then when I would meet the winemakers and brewers or whoever, and I would taste with them in a very sort of professional, formal way, it all just came together really beautifully. So I was very fascinated by that process and how sometimes things took years and just came together so beautifully in a glass. And so I continued to, do courses on my side.
And then what's the next level?
So I continued to do courses that came my way back then. I'm talking 13 or 14 years ago, this being. A lot of the
math. We'll jumble it up so that no one figures out how old we actually are.
But a lot of the brand ambassadors at that point were expat brand ambassadors with quite a bit of experience already before they had come to India. And so when they realized that I was really keen on studying, they would give me access to a lot of the sort of courses that they would do back home. And I didn't get the certificate of it because they couldn't actually administer it, but they would, get the exam for me. They would get all of the training, the manual so that I could go through it and learn. Because it was really, we didn't have all of like the WSETs, we didn't have as many courses that are now available in India, and they were all really expensive. I couldn't afford it on my first salary. And so that's how I sort of started studying it and continued to, go down that road. But what also ended up happening was I was writing for a B2B magazine, but I was coming across so much stuff that was just fun anecdotes. And so I would tell friends, and they encouraged me to sort of start a blog, which was more consumer focused, obviously. So just like tiny snippets of, fun facts that I was finding out or things about a brand that I started putting up on a blog called Giggle Water. And that's where Giggle Water started.
Giggle Water means?
Giggle Water. So again, while I was doing the research, I came across Giggle Water. And in the 1920s, during the Prohibition in America, one of the terms that they used to use for the euphemisms for alcohol was giggle water.
It was such a exciting time, I think, in the general alcohol space, the Prohibition time. It gave us gin.
So much.
It gave us a lot of undercover drinking, which is pretty much how it happens in most countries right now, right? Like, at least in conservative countries, you have to learn how to drink under the table.
Yes. But also the Prohibition culture, like in the cocktail world, it created its own distinct style of cocktails and still very prevalent today. And then we had the speakeasies, you had, the Roaring Twenties, all of that was around that time.
I'm planning to write a book at any point. I'm sorry, have you done already?
No, I haven't. And I think I'm one of the only people who studied journalism and was a writer that has no ambition of writing.
Too much effort, too lazy. What is the...
all of the above. All of the above.
Too many dogs.
Too many dogs included.
Since you mentioned the cool father and mother, I also want to bring in, she's got a very interesting mix of backgrounds that she's from. Take it away.
Slowly.
There's a bit to unpack, so slowly. Let's go.
So my dad is he's Aggarwal, and he was born in Delhi, but he hasn't lived here in maybe 50 years. My mum is half Goan and half Portuguese. and her whole family is in Goa. I don't have, there's not too much from my dad's side of the family, so I wasn't as exposed to, say, the North Indian side. But I was born and raised in Hyderabad because my parents moved there the year I was born.
The Telugu culture.
And so I lived there until I was 17 when I moved to Bombay to study at Xavier's. But my parents still live in Hyderabad, so it's home for me. I consider myself more South Indian than anything else because I feel like that's had the most impact on
So your good friends are also South Indian.
Yeah, and I surround myself, especially in Delhi, I surround myself with like mulls especially, so that I'm always well fed.
And since you said well fed, the table must have looked amazing in terms of what was on. I mean, like not just celebratory, not just Christmas East, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cooking smash and stuff.
Yeah.
But give me a sense of what that looked like. Since you had like so many things, so many backgrounds coming in, what does the table look like?
So, as a child, I was a really troublesome eater. My mom reminds me often
Because I'm much like a troublesome eater.
No, actually, my mom she loves the idea of foods. She's so tiny.
She's so
tiny that not too much can be eaten, but she loves the idea of food. And I think all of us, my sisters and I, are all really excited about food and love, just trying different things and have our favorites. And all of that comes from my mom. And when we travel, food is the primary agenda in most places. Like we know where we are eating first. But no, at home, so rice and dal, pickle, avakai, and curd was the only thing I would eat for really long. But our neighbors in Hyderabad are Mr. and Mrs. Ali, to me, like my grandparents, so Ninni and Baba. And in all the years that I've been working, with food and beverage, I've obviously met a lot of chefs. Some of my best friends are chefs. But my favorite cook is Baba. And he used to, so the dalcha and halim and biryani and patthar ka gosht, all of these things, he used to cook at home. And he was the only one who could get me to eat vegetable because he would put bits of mutton in it. So every chance I got, I would sort of run upstairs and eat with them rather than at mine. But it was always a mix. So we would have like this rice and dal, but we would also have a crab curry and a prawn curry and a lot of the Goan stuff that Mama would sort of bring to the table. And when we traveled to Goa, I remember our Sunday meals were like feasts, just like a fully laid out table.
Of dining at one of these, it's quite something. It's very intimidating actually, because you don't have a lot of time and you have to go through a copious amount of food. But wait, since you mentioned Baba, two questions. One was a thought. Baba's technique seems to be very similar to the Bengali way of eating vegetables also, which is that they are
little bits of meat. Yeah.
I remember, I can't remember whether it was in Hong Kong or in, it was an Asian country that we went to, where somebody ordered a vegetarian dish and they put cabbage and they said, hey, it was a pork soup. And they said, no, it's vegetarian. It's got cabbage in it. My second question was, did Baba inspire you to cook? Like, do you cook on your own? I find it very hard. I'm not one of those people who finds it therapeutic to cook. Like, to me, it's a job to be done.
Yeah.
So I like following recipes. I like, it's not like, I feel better at the end of it just because I've been doing these. So as a single person or like living alone, cooking for oneself becomes hard. So have you picked up on skills?
No, same. I'm more the eater than the cook. But also, I don't find it therapeutic. I can follow a recipe really well, and I know what will come out at the end is good. And over time, I have a slight knack for just like throwing things in.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
So I only end up cooking when I have to, and stuff that I want to eat, but no one can make for me where I am. So for instance, my mom's sausage pulao. So I have to make it if I want to eat it. Rasam, my mom's rasam recipe. A lot of the Goan stuff, so the prawn curries, the reshad, all of that. I miss that when I'm away from home. So those are the things that I end up cooking. But I have recently developed the skill to make a really good steak. Buff steak.
Interesting. That's fine. It's a good thing.
But yeah, so I only cook if I must.
And friends, of course, we have a lot of friends who keep calling us siblings.
Yeah.
They really feel therapeutic and they really like cooking, so that's great. I guess it's a match made in heaven. So when you Hyderabad, favorite places to, or let's not zero in on Hyderabad. South India, favorite places to eat. Doesn't have to be restaurants necessarily, but things to eat. Like maybe that would be unique to the state. Otherwise. And if you know any good places,
we'll start with
that, like, you know, that we can eat these at, like your restaurant that you would recommend, we'll probably link that in the comments below.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to
also like bars and
dishes, but I think some of my favorite. So like one of the things that I have to have a constant stash of here is avakai, which comes from Hyderabad, and there's this place called Velanki. A lot of the homemade avakai is great, but there's this place called Velanki in Hyderabad, which packs it really well and does a like solid avakai. So every time my parents are coming up and down, or anyone from Hyderabad is coming, that's a standing order. They also do this Guntur chili and tomato paste. So good. So that's one place to get that from.
Where's that crazy chicken 65?
So the one when you came, I think we...
So in Kerala, actually, the 65 is... even in Tamil Nadu, it's a
lot more fried.
It's a dry dish, right? It's like a appetizer. So it's still... I think till someone brought it from their house or something is when I realized that the ghee roast and what we call a ghee roast and what the 64 we call are completely different. Where do we... That insanely spicy pasting?
So I think when you had come, we ordered it either from Bajaate. So two of the places that I tend to order it from are Bajaate, Cafe Bajaate in Hyderabad, or Shri Kanya has a nice one. And Shri Kanya also has a really nice gongura mutton and bater. Bater is quail. It's fire. It's just like there's so much spice in it, but it's so good. So those are a few places. And then I love a good ghee roast. Usually when I'm in Bangalore, that's one of the places to, one of the things that's right there. Actually, Sannadike has a really good one.
Delhi?
I haven't eaten at the Delhi one in really long.
Oh, I didn't know they were Bangalore.
But yeah, the Bangalore one is really good.
Awesome.
Everything there, the fish fry and everything. And recently there's this bar in, sort of redone old bar in Bangalore called Dolphins. Have you been?
I've not been yet.
And they have a great thing. So what I love about Bangalore is that they do their bar food so well. So Bob's, if you've been to Bob's, Dolphins also, there's just like little...
Like a restaurant.
I think so.
It's like a place, right? It's a bite.
Yeah.
You go there, it's casual, and there's small plates. You can order a quarter of something.
Yeah.
Full of a bottle of alcohol.
And it's just solid, solid plate.
It gets the job done.
Yeah.
So
those are a few of those.
If you had to take a non-South Indian, I mean not just an Indian or you also like hang around with a lot of foreign folk. What is that one flavor or ingredient or it's a pretty distinct flavor profile, right? Like which the south of India has. What for you? What would be that? That you say, okay, you've eaten this, now you're in you're in out, like you're in.
I think more than a dish because I feel like it's so wide, but as an ingredient, I feel like various forms of coconut. So whether it's the cooking in coconut oil or the the fried coconut that goes over or the paste, coconut paste, coconut milk. So coconut and curry leaf maybe are the two things that I would most associate across most of the south.
Do you also, as part of this, you also get to travel with people down south to kind of show them around, or because there's a lot of indigenous local alcohol game going on, right? Goa's got Fenn and Urak, Kerala's got insane toddy, which is it's a shame that the state of Kerala has done nothing about it. It's probably the best beer. I don't know. It's magical, but because of its low shelf life. But they've solved it, right? Like some folks in Sri Lanka have managed. Recently, someone got me a can.
Have you tasted? Yeah,
it's great. It's called Lucky Fish. Bottled in a can. It had that fizz.
The pop.
The pop and it tasted exact, and it had the buzz also. So question was, do you see them around?
No, I don't end up doing any of that. I would have liked to, but I don't end up doing stuff like that. So only when I travel do I get to, drink for myself. But I do when I have friends who are visiting, or like anyone I know that asks for recommendations, then I'll tell them some of these things to try.
And do you think, what do you think we can do as a country because there's so much great stuff which can stand shoulder to shoulder with, France does a lot for its wine. Germany, Belgium, all of these guys have really, they're also cultural drinkers. So we're also cultural drinkers, right? Like we are also in specific regions and we bring out good stuff. What do you think? Is it like a...
it's not as... drinking here is always seen through a taboo lens, right? It's not as open. And so in a lot of these cases, we are controlled by the laws and the registrations in whatever state. And because each state functions separately with these things, very often you are not allowed to take that liquor outside of the state because it's country liquor.
Can only be consumed or sold in Goa.
Technically, and Maharashtra now has an amendment which allows it. But otherwise, you can't bring it to Delhi. So it's easier to export than to actually cross domestic borders.
Absolutely straight. You can sell foreign alcohol wherever. You can bring it into any state, but your own alcohol, which is your own country's, make in India, whatever, you can't.
Because a lot of these were, a lot of these from the time of the British, were designated as country liquor. And the undoing of that to then allow it to be accessible in neighboring states, is not yet something that we've here and there. So like Mahua, for instance, there's some progress in a few states where you can take Mahua. Fenn is Maharashtra right now. But yeah, it's very prohibitive.
From a trend perspective, right? And also now I think Indians, both from an age perspective as well as the fact that we're a lot more well-traveled.
Yeah.
We go to different countries, we experience alcohols, various kinds of alcohol, cocktails, and we also want that at either in our country or at home. So you've been on this, if not part of it, at least on the sidelines, watching how the last, say, 10 or 15 years has panned out. What do you think? What do you think the trajectory is in India right now from a cocktail perspective? Tell me, is it something you're excited about? Is there focus on regional flavors, or are we trying to? My question is this. Let me focus it. My question: are we trying to ape, kind of mimic what's happening outside of India and trying to recreate it here, or are we actually bringing our own perspective in the form of regional flavors to drinking, basically?
It's a bit of both. I think we want to be seen as decently international because now India is also looking at playing in that, the 50 best and that in that playing field where there's a certain expectation. But there is also a lot to be said for how we are trying to make it our own. So using more common, say, ingredients or dishes and then having...
dishes also...
So, flavors of gulab jamun, for instance, right?
Right, got it.
Okay, you may want to translate that into a drink.
Into nutcase in Calcutta.
Not yet, and when I was there, I didn't get a chance to go, but I've heard very good things.
It was called the Tangra something, but basically they had chili chicken as a drink. I was insane. It was the... it's quite something. You're not expecting that to happen. But fantastic.
And I think sometimes when we talk about this, it's not something that you would want to necessarily drink. Like the idea of the second drink.
The first one I'd want.
But if it's done well, and I think that's the other thing that's required. It has to go beyond being a gimmick. It has to go beyond sort of being lip service. But it has to make sense in the glass. At the end of the day, what you want is, does it taste good in the glass? Or does it sound like something you want to drink?
Tell me something. You will know that. Why is there so much sugar in cocktails? I can speak about Delhi. But every bar you go to, it could have the most flourishing description of it, but it's like bang with sugar. It just, sweet just overpowers everything to a point of,
But can I just say that my last trip to London, I went to a lot of bars. I was going after really long, and I went to a lot of bars. that used to be my favorite bars in the times that I've been before. Everything was so sweet.
What is it?
And it's way sweeter than here. I feel like...
Okay, in a cold place, I can...
Not to say that there aren't sweet drinks in Delhi.
Sure, but... overarching.
Yeah, but I think we have started to drink less, do more savory drinks. Of course, the mass... cocktail and the majority of cocktail drinkers are still going to want a slight sweetness to it, and you need a slight sweetness for balance, of course. But yeah, after that trip to London, I've stopped complaining about sweetness in Delhi.
The British knocked it out of you. But on the trend, on the trending, tell me something you love about the cocktail journey that is the path that the cocktail journey is taking up. Yeah, tell me one thing you love and one thing you hate, like you would change.
I think the fact that love for homegrown to a certain extent in terms of ingredients, brands, is certainly growing, and we understand now more that when we say regional ingredients, we don't only have to talk about pepper and cinnamon and anise. There is more than the lowest common denominator. So that's interesting. I feel like there's a little bit of a struggle between where to stop your storytelling and where to let the drink speak for itself. One of the things is that it's just the very elaborate drinks. I think more and more I'm slightly put off by that because there's so much happening, there's so much going on, which is fine if when you have that first sip, it makes sense and it all comes together. You shouldn't feel the weight of that story when you're having a drink but not enjoying that drink, right? Every sip shouldn't be laborious in that sense.
It has to belong.
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit of a struggle because everyone wants to be like, we are looking at this region and they have 14 different things, so we try to do those 14 things in a cocktail, but it's too much. It's not a pleasant drinking experience. So we have to also, I feel, more and more, and it's always in most markets and with most bars, there's always this period of doing a lot and then learning restraint, and we will learn restraint. And I think in some places we have already.
Do you think the 50 best, our representatives of the 50 as well, are on that list because they managed to do that to some extent?
A lot of them, yes. I think with all awards, there is a lot to be said for your PR and marketing, sure. Right? With food, with drink.
Any restaurant.
Yeah. And so in that sense, it's a combination of one, do you have stuff on your list, on your cocktail menu, whatever that people are enjoying, are people coming back over and over again? But also, are you bringing in the right people? Are you talking to the right people? That is what eventually gets you onto the list, to be fair. There has to be obviously a certain base level of efficiency and having good cocktails. And then what sort of puts you on there is this. Yeah.
Behind
is that. So having said that, there are a lot of bars I feel that are also doing a good job. So in that case, for example, it is very new, so it may not be eligible, but smaller bars that are still figuring out how to get how to have mouthpieces for the brand and for the bar who are judges, getting people to be able to come to smaller cities I'm calling Calcutta a smaller city, but in the bar world it is. Yeah. So that's a process and that's happening here and there. So there are some hidden gems.
We're talking about hidden gems. This is not, I don't know if you remember this, but this is not Karina's first rodeo with Southside Story. Back in 2020, was it? When we were stuck in
COVID. Yeah.
Karina was part of Southside Story to develop a fun couple of drinks. Do you remember what it is?
I know one drink. I think one was a coffee highball.
These are words to which. Why don't you?
So it was just one of the things that I I used to do, and I mean, I still would, is
1, 2, how many?
two that I remember.
2 of the
And one of so I used to create this coffee shrub. So shrub is something that has a little vinegar in it, and then you can keep it for a little bit.
Is it like a...
No, it's you can make it as sweet or not as you want, and you can use whatever form of sugar you want. So I think I tend to use honey or jaggery syrup or something like that. But a coffee shrub is an easy thing to make, or any kind of shrub is an easy thing to make and keep, and just top it up with.
Use filter coffee for this, or you just went to it? There's a pandemic, it's fine.
I can't remember.
So coffee highball was one. The second one?
The second one was a tamarind margarita, I want to say. But I make a mean tamarind margarita. And I think you're right.
Believe it.
So, I would make that today with I don't know if I used a curry leaf and chili rim, but I think I used a chili rim, but maybe a chili leaf curry.
Hold that thought. If Southside Story now came to you in 2025, 25 and said, okay, we want a classic with a South Indian. I hate the word twist. Everything is twisted.
Bent. I don't know.
Bent. Alt. Let's do an alt classic, but from the south of India. What do you think you will do? If you want a second, take a second.
So, I mean, right off, I would do something that's either savory or sour. Savory and sour, basically. Okay, I don't much associate sweetness with any of our main.
Would you pick your favorite gin? We'll come to that. It starts with the T, rhymes with I.
It is a special gin to me because I did a lot. But in terms of, to answer your previous question, I still think tamarind is a great ingredient. Kokum is something that I would use. I think kokum has this nice blush to it, and it's an interesting sour sort of tart flavor. So I would do maybe like a tamarind daiquiri or something like that. I don't know.
Tamarind daiquiri, fun.
Not right.
So what I was referring to earlier was that Karina was also at the apex, at the top of the food chain when Terai Gin made its splash, literally made its splash in India. What was that like? Building an alcohol brand? Because till at that point, you've been a brand ambassador, you've been an educator, you've been you've done programs.
Yeah.
But that's one thing, but to kind of actually front and center develop recipes for this. What was that like?
So, just before Terai, I spent about 2.5 years amongst consulting, also with Monkey 47 as an advocate, as a brand advocate and brand ambassador for them, which is a German gin. And it has a very solid look, narrative, sort of visualized identity.
Was Monkey 47 around for a while?
It had so when they entered India is when I started. It's a brand that I had loved for a lot before that. Yeah. And so I started representing them when they were here through Pernod Ricard in India. And it was a great experience because, just the do's and don'ts of that brand book were just so clear. This is what the brand stands for. This is what it should be. And after 2 years of sort of extending that to fit into sort of an Indian narrative in whatever sense, I felt like I wanted to create that for something, for a brand, build that narrative from scratch. And then sort of Terai came along. And it was great because I got to... there was already a lot that the owner Shekhar had put together in terms of the brand world, but I got to I think clean that up a little bit. It was when he had started the process, there weren't any Indian gin brands in the market by the time we were close to ready for launch, or by the time he came to me, there was a lot already, and they were doing a good job. A lot means there were 2 or 3, there's Greater Than, there was Stranger. They were doing a good job of the Indian gin story. So tweaking the recipe a little bit.
I remember the first time when it was a lot of what is the base? Aniseed. What is that forward flavor?
Actually, initially, it used to only be, it was a classic London dry. But
there was this one...
anise. Not anise, fennel.
Fennel, my bad, sorry.
Fennel and basil were the two sort of green things. But it was also a time when, because gin had become so popular, you also had classic London dry gins like Beefeater, etc., available at really good prices in India. And no one is going to, I mean, it's still now maybe a little better, but at that time, if you could afford an imported brand at about the same price, then you would go there versus... So in order to build loyalty is when, I felt that we needed to be slightly like off-center. And sure, it's a risk to take because there might be people who say, I hate anise or I hate fennel and I don't want to, that's not my flavor profile. But you'll also have people who love it and keep coming back for that. But as a classic London dry, we would have found it very hard, I feel, to build loyalty because people would have kept switching, So just building that out, creating a drink program for them, hiring brand ambassadors, creating IPs and little, like the top that we put down.
I love the most about Terai, and it's nothing to do with the drink actually. And this is where I think, not just with the alcohol, most things in life, branding and brand feel and how a customer feels when they're being part of this brand. And they always be part of this brand if they're consuming it, right? So for Terai, one was very good bottle design.
Yeah.
It stands out. You put it on a shelf.
Yeah.
It looks great. It's tall. Great label, right? There was some nice details in how that.
Yeah.
Two, it was of course it was a good gin, which I'm assuming is a base having most alcohol, and the spinning tops.
Okay.
Nothing to do with gin, but it was these. I remember there were three, right? There were three. Tell me, it was with partnership with this toy company.
So the design was done by Quick Brown Fox, and they're very good, and the label and the bottle design, and they worked for 8 months to get the bottle.
Quick Brown Fox in the coffee guys or the wholly different.
The design, and then the stopper was made in Channapatna, which is the lacquer wood in Karnataka, and it's a handicraft. And a lot of the story of Terai was art and handicraft and Indian forgotten craft.
Amazing.
And so I wanted to extend that a little bit because I always feel like it's really nice to have a keepsake for consumers. And I learned that actually with Monkey 47, because in Monkey 47, on the little cork that they have there used to be a ring, a silver ring. And all the bartenders used to want to sort of collect it, and then the limited editions had like a gold one.
Engraved with Monkey 47 on them.
Yeah, it was a Latin phrase that was written on them, but you would instinctively know that it was a thing, and everyone would sort of fight over them. But I used to go training, I used to give them away.
What is that place in Iron Fairies? It's just
the little angels. The fairies.
There were names to these fairies.
Oh, do they have names? I don't remember them.
I remember people would just go there just to get one back.
Yeah.
Started selling also.
Yeah.
But on the I don't know.
Yeah.
What about this on the top part? Sorry, I can't know.
Yeah. No. So I felt I wanted to create something like that, and I wanted to extend that Channapatna story. So we worked with artisans there to create these tops, and it just became such a thing that people would have on their work desks, would keep around their house, because it didn't seem like a branded thing so much. But I feel like those were. There were two designs. Yeah, there are two designs.
So because
I feel like it was the original fidget spinner. Like before fidget spinners.
I thought about this, but I think it was also an excellent metaphor for drinking, where when you spin the top, you're stable, and as it's up, you start wobbling, and then boom.
I didn't think about that. But we did. I remember coming up with a couple of ideas about how you could make your Terai. So have two bottles and spin it on the top of one, and then try and make your gin and tonic before it spins. Yeah, just easy, fun stuff. I think that's what. And I think attention to detail is something that's really important for a brand, and that's something that we were always very clear to do with Terai. Everyone that was sort of involved in it, and soon after that, there was a whole host of gin brands that came into work because it was the thing of the moment. Yes. And a lot of them don't exist right now because they did seem like fly-by-night brands, and a consumer can tell in the sense that forget the liquid. It's not just about the liquid, but also, having the heft, and like if you want a brand with longevity, you have to pay attention to the little things.
That were you basically.
Yeah, and they have to see that there's a clear vision and ethos to everything that you're doing that should fall in line with that. You don't have to do everything.
I sadly think like brands are not recognizing this. I feel like they just want to do so many things at the same time, and these small little linearity, it doesn't belong in what you're trying to do.
But if you look at any brand that you would use as an example and that has been around for more than 5 years, 10 years, you will see that one thing that they have a single identity that extends into everything that they do, whether it's their cocktails, whether it's the IPs that they create, or the bars that they create, or the pop-ups that they do. That has to be really solid. You have to have a very clear idea of how to extend that brand. You can't do everything because it's a trend. You can't just keep you can't sort of hop on, hop off. So I think the brands with longevity and the brands that we go back to over and over again manage to do this right.
Here's something that also I think requires great, if not insane amount of attention to detail. Judging wine and beer competitions. What is up with that? Like, can you tell me what it takes? Do you have to not eat or eat certain things? Because I've heard this from tea tasters that I personally think they've got the saddest life because they cannot have spicy food. They're on a regimen. Which kind of, so what is it like? Is it similar? Is it different?
So typically, yes, in the world of tasters, they are very particular about, how they eat, what they eat. So
is that true though? Like, is it one of those things that there's an air of, like I am a taster, therefore I must do these things?
Yes, my first few years in the now I feel like in the wine space it's a lot more sort of democratic because you have wine tasters that are not 90% European. So there's a little more
there's some sort of Swiss cheese classification over here that you can be a taster if you are 10% European.
They would. No. I don't think. I mean, it's not out loud, but But the thing is that they would say. I remember a lot of people telling me that, like, if I was eating something that was spiced or adding, chili to my thing, they're like, how can you taste if you're eating so much spice it will burn all your taste, right? So so there was a period of that. But no, I think from a tasting perspective, you do you. But when you are judging wine over that period, it's, one of the things that you have to be very clear about is that you are not judging it for your personal consumption. You have to be...
So there's a box, like are there fixed parameters based on which that you have to judge it?
Yeah, always. There's always. So you have a couple of, like the sight, there's smell, and there's your palate, your taste.
And even within those, there are parameters?
Within those, there are parameters. So things like texture, things like your finish, your aftertaste, the intensity of the flavors or the aromas. So it's all divided. Different wine competitions have different parameters that is judged of. Yeah, true of beer as well. Some of the same stuff, but the intention is slightly different from beer to wine. But the idea there is always you're thinking of what is something that would make... These wines are made for consumers. They are not made for experts. So you have to consider it from that perspective. If you are putting a winning label on a bottle and a consumer goes in and they don't know what else to buy and they pick this up because it's won an award, will they be happy drinking that wine? So there are a lot of these things to open up. It's not that like I may not like spice in my wine, or I may not like spice meaning like pepper or those kinds of flavors. But it's not for me. Is that a fault? If it's not a fault, then it's not. It shouldn't be rated down.
How long have you been doing this for?
So one of the main wine competition that I judge at is the CMB, which is the Concours Mondial de Bruxelles.
Go for it. And the Bruxelles.
The Concours Mondial de Bruxelles.
Right.
And it's a traveling wine competition. So my first year, I was 23 or 24, I think, when I first judged it.
Competition you're 20.
Yeah, I was invited. I was invited for it when I was really young, and that year was in Slovakia. Since then, I've traveled with it to Bulgaria, China. Last year was Mexico, Italy a few times. Next year is Armenia, which I'm looking forward to.
It's like the World Cup, basically.
Yeah.
Right. And it happens.
So it happens every year. This year was my 10th year because I missed a few years during COVID because they weren't inviting the Indians.
Do you get like badges or medals for every single one?
Not every one, but you get a 5-year badge and a 10-year badge.
Wow.
And yeah.
This is what I'm saying. Like, like your professional drinkers say this work. It's not just like...
Yeah. And during your tasting, you're only allowed water and maybe like some form of like a cracker or bread or breadstick or something like that, because you can't let too many things affect your palate. But it's also there is palate fatigue that can set in, because you're tasting over and over again. We do like in 2 or 3 hours, sometimes we do 60 wines. And some of those wines are really young wines waiting to be judged for when they grow older. So they're not very easy.
What's the environment that you do this in? Is it like a closed room? I'm picturing people are like, writing down stuff and like, or is it like
so this one particularly has a lot of judges. There are some 370 judges from 50 or 60 countries, 50 countries, I think. But other competitions have smaller rooms, and then you always taste in a table of either 4 or 5 people, or 6 depending. And everyone on that table is tasting the same wine at the same time as you. So you're all judging that same bottle, essentially. And so it's an average that counts. Because, again, like, you have to make space for personal bias. So an average then makes sense because it sort of evens the playing field for that wine.
So, I'm going to finish this. So there's juror, Beverage Consultant, Educator. Now that you've done it, I'm guessing, 15, 16 years, you're now teaching.
Yeah. I've been teaching for a while in smaller ways, not like proper certificate courses.
Right. But with WSET?
Now, yeah, because the WSET, I've done my wine WSET courses, but they launched last year a beer course. And I went and late last year, I went and did my educator training program. And so now in India, I do the WSET beer.
How does
level 1
sign up for this? Is it like a...
So I usually post it online. It happens in India through Raho. So I do it. I'm their educator for this course. Raho is a sort of beverage consultant company. They work with brands, they work with restaurants, bars, and they do a lot of these WSET courses. They do them in wine, they do them in sake now, spirits, and beer.
And all of this funnels into Giggle Water.
Yes.
Right, which is the online persona. Tell me, like, so I remember wherever Karina goes, she's quite, how do I say, skilled with knives and swords.
Not in the kitchen.
Not in the shop. One way to find out. I hope not like eliminate someone else's life also.
No.
But so Karina can open a bottle. If you don't have a bottle opener, she will find a tool in your house with which you can probably get the job done. Saber Sunday. What is Saber Sunday? Why do you do Saber Sundays?
So sabering or sabrage it's actually what Napoleon and his soldiers used to do, because lots of champagne, of course. So whenever they won a battle, they'd be on a horse and they'd have a sword in one hand, a bottle in one hand. So we just, with
a sword.
Yeah. So they just snap the top of the neck off. And because there's so much pressure in a bottle of champagne, if you find the point to break it at, it's a very clean break.
Not it.
So there's no glass shards that go inside and things like that. And so I just started doing a few a while ago, and it became my party trick, let's say. So, and then I became a one trick pony. And everywhere I went, people would sort of ask me to do one. And so then I started to post, these sabers on Instagram.
Break in the process of learning this?
Actually none. Touch wood. I feel like every time someone asks me that question, the next one I'm going to do is
I'm just thinking about wasted
thing.
Bots.
No, I mean there's been spillage and stuff, but I've never have you seen any of those saber fails? People keep sending them to me all the time, where they fall out of of your hand or they explode. So thankfully I haven't had any of those mishaps yet. I've broken a glass once, I think, trying to do it with the base of a wine glass.
Hit another glass in it.
No. So the neck of the stem of the glass broke. But other than that, so far, no casualties in bottles or in people.
Good. Cool. May the pattern continue. And I'm going to end with this.
Yeah.
You've been to many bars, many countries through the traveling judge stuff. Wildest bar story.
Oh,
right.
The problem with bar stories and wild bar stories is
for the screen, but still
trying to remember them the next morning is hard enough.
No, these you remember for sure. Wildest bar story you remember.
Usually come back in bits and pieces
Somebody is
over the next
on a
week.
table taking their shirt off. They are something.
No, I think one of the kind of strange one was in Singapore. It was my first and only trip to Singapore, actually. And there's just so many bars there.
I haven't heard wild and Singapore in the same sentence in ages. Isn't it one of the most restrictive, where you're not allowed to, you can't chew gum, you can't,
But it's not something that you take onto the street. But in bars, and there's just so many bars. And so we were just
frustration.
hopping. We did, I think, 7 or 8 bars in one night. And then we landed up at another bar, and I knew the owner of that bar, and it ended up being closed. And sort of it's a quirky, we use the word quirky loosely, it's a quirky bar. But so we kept knocking, and he was asleep because he was drunk upstairs, and he heard us. So then he came back down and he opened, and he said, "This is the bar. Karina, make cocktails," because I am in no condition to make cocktails, right? And all of us are fairly drunk at this point. And he had all sorts of concoctions behind the bar. There was steeped octopus and I don't know.
As an ingredient for
yeah.
drinks,
So and some of them are labeled and some of them are not. So you don't know what's going on. And he couldn't remember a lot of it. And then so there was chili. So it was like a kid in a candy store in that sense, and a slightly drunk kid in a candy store. So I just kept throwing stuff together for everyone there. And it was, some successes, some massive fails. But most of us rolled out of there, is what I can tell you.
At the end of this night, did he hit on you or did he ask you for your number? While it's in the middle, he's woken up from his sleep, he's opened up a bar to this, the number something good must,
No, it was all kosher.
In my head, his game plan was totally different. For this and many more stories, please follow Giggle Water 411. 411. What is 411?
A lot of people think it's my birthday or anniversary or something like that, but actually 411 is 911 is emergency, 411 is information. Is it no information? So give me the down low, give me the 411 on something.
So there's actually a number, you call this number, it's like the yellow page.
Correct. But I think as a child, I watched too many American action movies, and so I thought everyone will get what 411 is. No one did.
Did not. Okay, so cool. So Giggle Water 411. That's the correct one. That's what you want to follow. With that, thank you so much, Karina, for spending time with us. I've got a few rapid fire questions which I'm supposed to do. Karina, welcome to the rapid fire section of the PODIcast, which I'm told you enjoyed quite as a word.
Yeah, secondly.
I promise you there will be no personal questions.
Okay. So,
all safe, all kosher.
Okay.
Number 1, infused arak or barrel-aged rum?
Barrel-aged rum. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Nandari syrup or kokum extract? Which one I think.
Kokum extract. Yeah.
Picking on something you said earlier, fresh curry leaf garnish or a smoked mustard sodium?
Oh. Both?
Quick.
Both?
No.
Okay, curry leaf then maybe. Curry leaf.
Hosting this you'll have a very clear perspective of. Hosting a backyard cocktail night or hopping between Bangalore bars?
Oh, the Bangalore bars right now are really great. Like 3 of them were on the things. But yeah, correct. I'm a home person.
So, option 1.
Option 1.
Excellent. Sipping at a Taravat courtyard or shaking
Just
cocktails?
that. Just that. I don't need to know what else.
Coconut water base, as in like tender coconut water or tamarind pulp cake?
Actually, both together might work very nicely, but I like tart sour, like.
How are we doing it? Tart sour?
It's on camera. Go rewind.
Classic nostalgia or experimenting with chaos?
What?
It's the question. I mean,
Nostalgia, maybe?
classic nostalgia. Are you a retro girl?
Yeah.
Experimenting with chaos, which is your job right now, which is basically.
No, I'm a retro girl.
Okay, cool. And I'm going to. How do I do this? I'll name a few states.
Okay.
I'd want you to maybe match a drink that you think is appropriate. It could be an existing cocktail.
Okay.
I don't know, like to the state.
Okay.
We'll start with homegrown, Goa.
Okay, there's a cocktail called the Tamde Rosa, which is Fenn or Urak, depending on the season, with kokum.
For the
Fenn is a distilled cashew drink, and Urak is its sort of the first distillation of it. So Tamde Rosa has that with kokum and like as a highball.
Fair.
And salt.
Kerala. Choose your words carefully.
Just toddy. Don't fix what's not broken. Just like toddy with all the touchings around.
Nice.
Like those little like plastic jugs that you keep.
Got to figure this out. We have to take toddy to the world.
Soon.
Hyderabad. So AP, Telangana.
Maybe like a tomato martini, but with like Guntur chili oil and like crushed maybe like pepper and curry leaf on top.
Last but not the least, the favorite city we all have up till now, Delhi. What would that?
We all. A picante. I don't know. Like everyone is drinking a picante now. It's everywhere.
It's pickle juice.
Yeah. I do like a picante, but yes, it's everywhere.
And
as long as we don't have a butter chicken picante, I think we're good.
it's coming. They'll probably make an ice cube out of frozen
Maybe.
butter chicken, which will slowly like this.
I hope now that we've said it out loud, it's like if you say 3 times, it'll come true.
Okay, so
We can.
say it twice.
Let's not say it again.
Lastly, and we've run out of time, unfortunately, as fun as this was. If Southside Story, right? Southside Story is what music, food, culture, etc., of the southern Indian states, all put together one. If that was a drink or a cocktail, I got a sense of the flavors that you were telling me, like, from what would you name it? What would be a fun name to?
What do I mean? Okay, I'm going to name it something. When I was studying Telugu in school, there's one word that took me really long to pronounce.
Well,
It's a word called Ardhamaindi, which means understood.
what is, sorry, say that again?
Ardhamaindi.
Ardhamaindi, and it means
Understood. It took me I couldn't pronounce it for really long. So I would name my cocktail that.
Right.
And if you have 2 or 3 and you can still pronounce the word, then you need another Ardhamaindi.
This is the one tequila too.
Yeah.
Great. And with that, thank you so much for being part of this.
It was my pleasure.
And soon I hope it's eaten out of your mother's cooking, hopefully.
I hope you have some Mahabali prawns coming after this, sir. She didn't pay me to do it.
For you. Thank you so much, Karina.
Thanks, though.